What's going on, guys? My name is Uri Sable. Today we're going to be tying you a cool little pattern that we call the BS. I was doing a live feed with on Instagram. One of the guys requested certain colors, so the colors we came up with this right here, and this is the BS. It's a marabou fly, pretty much, with a little bit of hackle, but let's get into it. Let's get into tying it, and let's show you the materials that I'm using here. So the materials we're going to be using for the head, we're going to be using bruised dubbing. This is what is it? Medium olive, and this is the canary yellow. For the collar, we're going to be using some silver fox. For the fins, we're using some Indie hen. Okay. For the tails, we're using some olive grizzly, olive marabou, olive marabou, black and yellow large dumbells, and for the body we're going to be using dyed polar UV chenile. This is the PB2 thread from Vivas, 140. Alright, for the wire connection or the hook connection, I'm going to be using some of this stuff right here. For the hooks, I will be using B10S hooks in size 2. For the beads to connect everything, I'm going to be using large beads that I purchased at Walmart. These are mega large. I'm just going to use 2 of these guys. Alright, start the thread. You just got to get it back there. Okay, I'm going to be about halfway between the hook point and the barb of the hook. Get a couple of feathers off of a neck of grizzly olive. Got 2. We're going to put them so that way the dull sides are on the inside. And I'm just going to measure it. I want it about this long, so we'll cut off the excess here. And I'm not getting rid of any of these feathers. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1 feather on each side of the hook shank. So 1 near closer to the camera and 1 closer to me on my end of the shank. And if I could get it tied, this is why I like using the wax thread, but for this purpose, alright, we just lock it in right there. I'm not stripping it because this will allow it to lock with everything on there and just stays on there. I like it that way. Boom. Alright, now we're just going to select a marabou feather. Wet my fingers just to get the tip tied in. And then I'll bring the tip back and wrap the tip in and then cut off the tip. That way it's not in the way. I'll use the back end of my scissors to bend these fibers back. And just bend these back. As I'm bent them back, just advance my thread right where I want to end and start wrapping. And with every wrap, just pull these feathers back towards you, so that way they're laying run in front of the other, creating a nice fat body tail back into the bait fish. And there it is. Just tie it off. 1, 2, 3. That way I know it's locked. Cut off the stem. Pull all these fibers back. If you can't, use a brush and brush out that marabou gently so you're not breaking anything. Pull that back and just get that stem covered up. And just tie it in. I'm covering the length of the hook because with that marabou being finished there, it gave us like a little bump. So I'm just going to begin to wrap it, and I'm going to pull these strands backwards just like I did with the marabou, creating a taper to the inner part of this fly. Like so. Alright, and there it is. And then we'll just lock that off. 1, 2, and 3. Oh no, I dropped my beads. Alright, cut that off. Pull those fibers back and just strip the stem again. There, and then take your tip again, wet it, and tie it in. Bring that stem back, or that tip back. There, the front of this doesn't have to be super pretty. That's done. Just bend these fibers back. We're going to do about 3 turns of this. 1, 2, and there's your 3 turns. Bringing the stem on the bottom. 1, 2, and 3. That way that stem is definitely tied in there. Careful so you don't cut your thread. Pull off your stem. Pull all that marabou back. This doesn't have to be super pretty. Like I said, this is just the back of the fly. It's going to get covered up with more marabou anyway. Alright, take your brush. And if there's any trapped marabou, brush it out. Alright, so since this is non-wax thread, I'm going to use some Zap-A-Gap just to lock it in when I put in my whip finish. This is going to be the back of your fly right here. Alright, now let's move on to the front of the fly. Put the hook in. Okay. We're going to start our thread about a hook eye back, work way back, and then come back about halfway. That's where I want to set my eyes. Don't worry, they'll get locked in. And this is another reason why I like to use the wax thread. It really locks those eyes in. But there's another portion we're going to be using. And now when we bring this thread back, we want to be about right at the barb. Right where the barb goes up, that's where we want to be. Now when you do this move, make sure the wire didn't get crisscrossed. If it get crisscrossed, your fly is going to be floating sideways. Alright, so just 2 turns right there. And I'm going to pull it back right there. I want that little gap right in between the beads. And I want this back bead to be right against the hook there. So I'm happy with it where it is. And just crank this down. You want this wire to be sitting like that on my side as I have it. And just crank it all the way to the front. Get it really tight to the hook shank here. And then I'm going to go under on my end. I'm going to go under, and then I'm going to go over on the other end. So over, just like that, hold it in, and just wrap it. Now this side is going to get wrapped on your side towards the camera. So I'm just going to get it nice and tight right there. And then I'm going to come back to the eyes, and I'm going to do some more zigzag. And then I'll do some figurines. And finally I'll do the helicopter. Just to lock everything tight. And then work my thread all the way back where we started. Right there. Alright. Now, put some Zappa Gap or super glue on here just to secure everything. It will just make it a little more sturdy and keep the materials where it needs to stay. Since we're waiting for the glue to dry, I just wanted to say thank you for tuning in and watching this tutorial. I would really appreciate if you guys helped me out with a big like button. Hit that thumbs up. Also, if you could subscribe, it would greatly help me. And make sure you hit that notification bell. The bell will bring you back here for when I release new flies or tie different flies. So I appreciate it. Now let's go back down and check the rest of the fly out. Alright, now that you have it, you're going to place it right on here, like so. And this isn't hollow fibers or anything. It's very soft fibers. Just get them locked in there, and then you're just going to trim this. You're not going to cut it completely. You're just going to trim it. The reason why you're just trimming it is you're just creating a top for your dubbing to sit on. So we're just going to select olive. You're going to do this 3 steps. 1 behind the eyes, 2 in front of the eyes. Take a nice little clump. 1, 2. Pull it down. Okay. Take your yellow. Take a fatter clump. Okay. And then what I'm doing here is I'm just twisting my hands together, and then if there's any loose, I'll pull it off. Just gently pulling away. I'm not ripping the dubbing apart like I'm blending it. And then I'm just going to put this on the bottom. Careful so you don't stab yourself. 1, 2. Okay. And then we'll do 3. Okay. Now we're just going to put that back. Just like that. You're going to bring your thread to the front of the dubbing. Right there. Okay. So now that you have that in the front, you're going to take some of your indie and you're just going to pick two little pieces just to create fins. 1, 2. Okay, I'm going to start with 1. I'm just going to strip all the fuzzies off. Okay. And I strip some of this back. I'm just going to add this on. Do like, I don't know why is it that, shit, I'm gonna have to use bigger feathers. Alright, so just select 2 indie feathers. There you go, right there. And just strip them back. You're just going to lay it down. Alright. Lay it down and just compare your size. So you want it about that big. It's good. I'll set that one aside and I'll strip the other one now. I'm going to compare the one from my left to my right so that way they're about the same sizes. match them up, top of one another, and check. And they're like exactly perfect. So, just going to take one, put it on. Two. Just take your time when you're putting these in, just so they're sitting nice. Alright, so now they're both in. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the stems and I'm going to trim them right about there. Now what I'm going to do with that stem is I'm going to bring it to the front. And I'm just going to tie it in right there. So now we have our paddles. Now we're going to take a big chunk of green, nice thick piece. We're going to work it in. Right there. One, two. You don't have to crank them. You just want them there. And you're going to take a big chunk of yellow. The reason why you're doing a big chunk of green, a big chunk of yellow, you want to cover everything up. Alright, now there you have it mixed in. One, two, and then I'll crank it. 3, 4. Okay, I want that to be tight. Alright, and then just lay these back like so. Sneak our thread forward to right there. Alright, I'm going to select a small, medium piece of green, and this is going to be your final one for the front. This is really going to build that nice fed head. Okay, so 2. And you're going to get another piece of yellow and do the same. Yellow doesn't have to be as big. You're just pretty much putting it on there just to create a nice even head. Put that on there. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, then you're gonna separate the two colors. I don't know how they mixed in like that. Right. The beauty of working with this material is it's not very messy. Alright, so to tie off the front, just take your dubbing and pull it back. Pull it back. Your fingers are like stackers for deer hair. And just build a nice little head right here. Like that. Take it and do a half hitches. 1, 2, 3. Cut your thread off. And you take your brush, just brush everything back. It is. I'm going to take some flow from Loon and we're just going to pull this back a little bit and just dab it on top. This will secure the thread to the material, to the dubbing, but it also will secure the thread itself. As you can see, it's a little frayed. I'm going to cut that off once this is dry and cured. Okay. All got in there. Cut that off. Cut off the axes here. There it is. There's your BS. Easy fly, easy material. Just getting a little used to it. That's all. Alright? So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you did, like I said, subscribe, comment, and give that thumbs up button for me. And until next time, I'm out of here. You guys be good, be safe, and keep fishing.